In this video, I'll show you how you can take a regular Jpeg file and convert it into a smart filter so that we can apply camera raw settings to it. And then we'll take it a step further by doing some curves adjustments based on the zone editing system so that we get something like this as our finished product. First thing you want to do is open up your Jpeg file, go to Filter, Convert for Smart Filters. Notice the icon down here at the bottom right has changed and it now says Layer 0. So then we go Filter, Camera Raw Filter. Wait for that to load. And then we can just make some adjustments. And these are some adjustments that I've picked up on watching some other YouTube videos. I'll include those links in the description below. And we'll just change this. See where we go. Basically what I'm doing is I bring the highlights to the far left, change the shadows to the far right, and then whites. I just make sure my clipping is turned on at the top here. So it tells me where the white is that's overexposed. So that looks about right, and you can start to see a little bit of overexposure here on the deer, but that's okay. And then we go for our blacks, and we'll look. Now depending on what kind of look you want, you can adjust the settings. I wanted the trees to look really dark so that you're focused more on the deer than the background and the foreground. And I'll just maybe bump up clarity a bit, like that. See what the vibrance does. Doesn't seem to be doing too much, so yeah, we're okay. That should be okay. Now that that's finished, we can go into our scripts. I'll provide a link for this also. I've got my preset actions here. I call them scripts, same thing. And I'll run through, create all the channels. You can see here it's adding all the channels in. I think next time I will resize the JPEG so it goes faster for you folks. But for now, just go and run the second part, curves adjustments, so we can watch those layers get added in. You see here it's adding in the layers. And it wants to feather all the masks. Continue that. Just blurs out the adjustment layer masks a bit so it's not too crisp. And then for organization's sake, we'll just go in, group all those up into zones. We got dark zones, mid-tones, lights. Okay, so now we're going to go in and edit those adjustment layers. Okay, you can see down here at the bottom we got our 4 light zones. If we look at the zone 10, I'm just going to click on Alt and then the thumbnail. You can see that zone 10 has very little in it. Zone 9 has a little bit more detail. And then zone 8, same thing, keeps bringing in more light. And then zone 7 has the most light in it. So I think I'm going to turn off the rest of those zones. So zone 8 we're going to turn off, 9, 10, and just look at zone 7. Okay, so just adjust that so that you guys can see that layer better. And we'll just make some adjustments here to the curves. Sometimes all I like to do is just click on the default setting and see what it does. There's light contrast, no real change. Okay, let's go for, let's see, lighter. What's that do? Brings up a little bit of the grass in the bottom here. So let's just play around with that and see if we can't tweak it a little bit more. Not too much. I don't want to really make it white. So we'll just bring it back down here. Good. The picture itself is already light, so I don't have to worry about making it too bright. Move on to our midtones here. And zone 6, let's take a look at that one. That's zone 5. And 6. Yeah, we're going to turn off zone 6 because zone 5 has the same as well. You can adjust them, each zone individually. I've just played around with this one enough to know that zone 6 doesn't really help. So in zone 5, same thing. Let's see if I can lighten this up a bit. Does it make a difference? Hopefully you can see there's a little bit of difference to the deer and the grass. So what we'll do, let's see if we can just darken this. See what that does. Changes the color. Let's see, leave that there. What about this one? Bring it back down. Oh, not too far. Try about there. And maybe see if we can lighten some of our highlights here. Does that make any difference? Oh, if you go too far, then it's gonna blow out the colors and everything. What you can do, if your blend mode maybe could be causing some color damage to it, so you can change it from normal to luminosity mode and see if that makes any difference. In this case, doesn't appear to be making any difference between normal and luminosity. We can always adjust the opacity of it. Again, I'm making small adjustments to the midtones. You're not going to see too much. We're going to try zone 4 and see if we can change that one. Same thing, just grab slider. See, oh, we go lighter there. It's already bringing up some lighter image, or lighter colors, I should say. So let's play around with this curve and see. So the left side of the curves are dark. So if we drop that down, does that do anything? Not really, so you don't have to worry about that. Go a little bit further over into our mid-range here. Let's see what this little guy, brighten him up a bit. Yeah, it's changing a bit of the color in the deer. You guys may not be seeing that. And if I do that. There we go. Sometimes I like to click the little histogram correction, and then it'll give you a better idea of what the image actually looks like now. And let's see, is that? Yeah, getting a little more color in the deer out of that. And the grass. Now you notice on the right hand side here we can just maybe bring our whites in because there is no white. You can see the little gray area. And the lighter gray area doesn't start till about there. So is that making a difference? Not too much. And again, sort of give you a before. Here's your before, after. Just slight lightness, but let's see if I change it to luminosity. Does it do any different? Yeah, a little better. Normal. No real change that way. I'll just leave it at luminosity. Go take a look at our darks here. Alright, zone 3. Let's see what zone 3 looks like. As you can see, we got a lot of white in the background there with the trees, and then not so much in where the, I believe it was a pea field. I think those were peas. So, again, if we just click the little adjustment icon there, it'll redo the histogram for us. So we get a better idea. So, this is darks. Just play around in our darks here and see if we can't make it a little darker maybe. bring up some color for the grass. What about anything over in the far right? Up higher to get it lighter, down to darken it? Not really. Although we could do that a bit. It's all, again, personal preference. I think that's the whole idea. Is there is no set curve setting that you can do. We can just compare it to normal. If we go luminosity here, a little change. You may not notice it. It mostly is in the grass that it's changing. So if we go into zone 2, take a look at that one. Same thing, it's still in that area. The trees and the tall grass is basically where it's going to get affected. So if we go in there and same thing, play around in our darks, drag them down, see if we can get them darker. And maybe see if we can brighten up some of it a little bit. Don't want the grass to look too dark. But again, that's just personal preference, right? We can go down here, make it look really dark. Bring it up a little bit. It affects the deer a little bit as well. So just got to be careful there. Same thing, let's try zone 1, see what that one looks like. Yep, zone 1. Still the same. A little bit less of the grass is going to be affected. The deer are basically completely ignored now compared to zone 2 and zone 3. So in zone 1 we'll go edit that one and see what we can do with this little curve. Oh, that brings back some color. If we go way high it's going to blow it right out, so we'll just bring back a little bit of color in the darks and put one there. Notice the curve here. What happens if we bring this down? How's that? Nope, that's too much. Bring this guy back down. How about that? Let's adjust our curves. Histogram again. Yeah, it didn't change much. Okay. How's that looking? Yeah, I think I'm gonna stick with that. I like the dark background. Let's go see what zone 1 looks like. Or what's luminosity? Whoops, the luminosity do to it. Little like luminosity basically makes your colors not get blown out compared to normal. Normal you'll see more color change, whereas luminosity just basically makes it brighter. It doesn't blow out the colors, so maybe we'll stick with that. Actually, I like normal for that. Yeah, let's go with that. We'll go with normal. And then zone 0, yeah, it's just a little bit of the trees from the original image. So if we make those really, really dark, we'll just drag that little curve right to the bottom, and it basically blanks it out. If we go the other way, it's going to bring back color. You can do that. To me, this picture has too much green in it, so I want to get rid of some of the green, and to do that I can just drag that curve down and away we go. You can also play with the sliders and see what that does. If you go too far over, it starts blowing stuff out of proportion. You get weird colors happening, so I usually just leave it alone. And that's it. That's all I want to do with this one. So to do it easy, I'll just go Control-Alt-Shift-E. Give you guys an idea of before and after. So here's the after. There's before without the camera raw. Then we did camera raw setting, and then it's going to render that back for us. That did a lot of the work right there, and then make changes with our lights. There's a little bit of work done in there. Midtones again, a little bit of work there. And then darks, sort of darken the background a bit to give us our final image. So you can play around with the curves afterwards. It's non-destructive. If you want to add color layers, oops, I should say color filters to it, you can do the same thing. So let's add a little photo filter here. And there's a little warming filter, it'll warm stuff up. Now if you wanted to apply that just to, let's say, the lights, we go to our channels, and the lights, if you remember, were our lower end zones here. So we'll control click, and we get our little, look at our icon here, it's got the little dotted box with the hand. So control 10, and then control plus shift onto 9, 8, and 7. Starting to add that in. Maybe I want a little bit more. Let's try zone 6. Yeah, we can add that in. Now if I go back to my layers tab, make sure I have black set as my background color, and just hit delete. Actually, I want to have my background color selected as white, so instead I'll just control D to get rid of the selection and invert that. You can see that now your photo filter is applied to just basically the lights, or basically the lighter end of that zone scale. It's, you know, it's doing a weird effect to the P color. So if we go into that one, we maybe want to just bring down the density, see what preserved luminosity does to it. I'm just trying to get rid of that green, the oversaturation of green in the picture. Let's see if we do blue. That definitely changes the color of your green. And yellow. No, that's actually, I didn't mind blue. Oh, too much, too much. Change our opacity of that level. Yeah, I'm just switching between it. Let's see if we do. That's not going to make any difference. Okay, let's make let's do color lookup just for fun. Hey, do a color lookup. Let's see. Edgy amber. Okay, that's really red, an ambery color if you want. But if we go into our channels here and say let's change that to, let's grab zone 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Again, I'm going control shift to add to the mask, and then go back over here. And this time, let's change our background to white. Hit delete. That, and that's not, it has to be black. It has to be black. Hit delete. There we go. And control D, get rid of that selection. And what happens when I feather this out? Oh, that's interesting effect, isn't it? And go back to here, change the opacity. Yeah, you can do that. The other way you can do it is once you've got your layer mask set up, you can always go to image, apply image, and then select the original one. In this case it was layer 0. And then I like to pick the channel, so if we just said zone 4, okay, and change your blend mode to normal. Oh, let's just cancel out of this first. Can I change fuzzy? No, I'll just cancel this out for a second so you guys can see it. Get rid of the feather on it for now so you guys can see the difference. Apply image, layer 0, nothing, and what was that, zone 4? No, let's try zone 3. There's zone 3. Oh, actually I like that. That's nice. So notice I got blending as normal. Now it's gone back to that, so we can say OK. And if I just change the opacity of that a little bit. Yeah, there we go. So that's how you can use the zone channel system to add more effects. We can also feather this a bit more so it isn't so rigid looking. There we go. And that's, yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm going to leave it at that, and hope you guys enjoyed the video.